Hi, Shelby. Okay, we're on the latter half of your assessment and we're going to look at your leadership grip. And I didn't say this before, but your leadership grip and the Berkman assessment, they were never together until a few decades back when somebody recognized, I'd have to get the name, that to fully obtain a good personality assessment, one needs to look at both their natural characteristics and the spiritual side of yourself. So that's why it's called the Grip Berkman. I had no clue what that meant when I heard it. It didn't make any sense to me. So Grip Berkman are both names of individuals, and these two tools together work so nicely, and they're still available in the world as standalone assessments also, at least the Berkman side of things. The Berkman characteristics, natural characteristics assessment runs through many, many, many large organizations, huge companies where they don't necessarily need the spiritual side of things, and they're at a loss for not doing that. But the two are used hand in hand for really one purpose. And the purpose of the Grip Berkman is to look not only at ourselves as individuals, but how do we work together as a team with one another to bring others closer to their purpose and to bring those closer to God, which is really the essential component of all of this. This isn't an I assessment. So when I did say personality assessment, it's actually not really personality assessment. It's how do we play out as members of community, whether that be with your spouse or with your coworkers, in the church, in dance. How do we play out in those different communities? And this is actually an assessment about we. And so if I came at it from a vantage point that didn't make sense, there is so much about I in these assessments, and it's so helpful. But the motivating factor here is, who am I amongst others? Who am I as a we? So that's sort of where this all is coming from, especially when you take the two different assessments and put them together as one. And later today, when we wrap this up, I'm going to summarize in a very powerful way how your natural characteristics and your spiritual leadership come together and how powerful they unite to give you this super characteristic. And that's the most exciting part of this. So we'll look forward to that at the end. I'm going to go through the leadership grip quite quickly. The report looks like this, and it's not as nicely lined out or laid out as the Berkman assessment. And like there's no page numbers. I'm going to have to talk to the company. So I'm going to be speaking to mostly the first page, and the rest of it is quite complicated, but you can read through it if you like, especially the spiritual gifts part in page 1 and 2. And again, go through it and read through it. I just find it quite complex, but what comes out of it is amazing. Like, this is Shelby in the spiritual sense, and just to remind you that like God created you, and how you can live out who he designed you to be is so powerful and beautiful. Remember, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we are all in a discernment process. So I'm excited. So your top spiritual gifts. And if you're not too sure what spiritual gifts are, they are giftings from God that are given to us either at birth or given to us spontaneously in the moment to experience joy, fruit, and power. So any times in life where you're experiencing those three things, you're actually working within a spiritual gift. And we all can have all of the spiritual gifts, and they're outlined here. But Shelby's top 4 spiritual gifts are noted at the top of the triangle. So your first one that Grip Berkman sort of spit it out as number 1 is administration. Number 2 is mercy. Number 3 is discernment of spirits. And number 4 is service. So I don't know if you're like me, but I didn't know the definition of these spiritual gifts. I, had an idea of what mercy means, kind of course, what service means, but the nice thing about finds what these spiritual gifts are and what they mean for you, and then you can read the definition and you can see yourself weaving through the entire definition. So as we go through the definition of your top 4 spiritual gifts, you might find that the generated ranking of your top spiritual gifts may not be in the order that the leadership grip put it out as. So your number 1 according to the report is administration, number 2 is mercy, and onward with 3 and 4. But you might find that you need to move those around a little bit for where you are right now in your life, and that's totally okay. What is important to know is the spiritual giftings within ourselves can adapt according to the life situations that we're in. So I think of your wedding last year and all of the amazing processes and hard work and memories created there with your wedding. Your spiritual gift may have been administration as a number 1. And I don't know, we look at, I don't know, just a different scenario where maybe you've had to give a lot of mercy and forgiveness and grace to individuals to be able to heal and get through some challenging times. You might put mercy as top. So this is just a general ranking of Shelby in her spiritual realm. And this excites me so much because this is where the beautiful positive power comes out with each individual. And if you're living in your spiritual gifts, it's like that place where you get to once in a while and it's like, man, if I could only be there all the time. Like whatever just happened, whatever I just experienced or did, that was phenomenal. Like I want more of that every single day, and it just fulfills you in ways that you can't even put in words. But the most incredible thing is it's not fulfilling just you. It's serving and bringing deliverance for the people that you're experiencing that with. So you're heightening and propelling others into their purpose as well when you're working in your top spiritual gifts. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so there's a lot of double checking that goes in on this report. Don't worry about any of that. It is necessary, and I've done all of the validating and double checking of your three corners. Does that make sense for a triangle? But there's a lot of checking to make sure that these are all aligned appropriately and that they match and mirror each other extremely well. And I've done that, and your three corners here are amazingly tight, so they go together really, really well. So top spiritual gifts, number 1. Okay. Oops, here I'm looking at my sample one. Number 1 for Shelby, administration. So the supernatural ability to provide organization for the goals of the body of Christ by designing and carrying out an efficient plan of action. So I'm sure you can see yourself as an administration role in the body of Christ, but this also comes to play in any of the areas of life where you experience joy, power, and fruit. So you might want to look at your real estate or your family or dance as far as the administration thing goes as well. So we're going to read your characteristics and liabilities. And again, I just want you to check off which ones are most prominent like we did in previous columns. And I'll just let you go ahead and do that on your own. Actually, we won't do it together. The important part of this, and it's all important, is the gift liability. So we may have this amazing gift of administration, putting details into a plan of action, navigating a ship, how to plot the course. What else do we have here? Task-orientated and detail-centered, people-centered, focus on details, and you look finitely at things rather than a big picture. So all of that is amazing and wonderful, but every gift also has a liability. So if you're working too much in a spiritual gift, it actually isn't a gift anymore. It makes you liable to the flesh and not working in your spiritual strength. So reviewing the liabilities is really, really good. And I have to tell you, like, I kind of sunk under the table when I was reading my gift liabilities in a room of people, because I was like, oh my gosh, these are like things that I do all the time. So again, they're not necessarily negative, but they're red flags to tell us that we're not working within the gifts that we've been given. So really highlight and get to know your gift liabilities. Okay, so mercy. Shelby has the spiritual ability to show empathy and compassion for those who suffer physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And like, that's mercy in a nutshell. That's pretty powerful stuff. Go ahead and read the characteristics of that gift and the liabilities. Discernment of spirit. So this may be something you may not have heard of before. I know I didn't, but I'll tell you, Shelby, this gift, you've probably always sensed that there's something in you that's sort of a gift, but yet a burden, like a blessing or a burden when you see people or experience people or even walk by people. And this could be the feeling or the ability to discern spirits in people. So the supernatural ability to determine whether a certain action has its source in God, in man, or in Satan. And you and I share this one and mercy, and every gift is amazing, but I had no clue what discernment of spirits meant. And a lot of answers came flooding to my soul really when I understood what the discernment of spirit means. So when you see an action or a behavior or an individual, you can see almost immediately if that person or action or behavior or thing is actually working through God, is working through flesh, which is us in our innate human to not be perfect, or through the enemy, which is Satan. And there's really no other three spirits that we can be working in. And in the perfect world, we all want to be working or being sourced in God, but being here on earth, we are going to have times and experience actions and behaviors in ourselves and others when we're working in the flesh or working in man or even in the enemy, which is explained here as Satan. So let's just read these characteristics. You're able to discern the source of a message or special word as being from God or from Satan. So you know right away if something's great or stay away from. And it's almost like it's an instinct that you've been blessed with, Shelby. You have the ability to discern a person's spiritual motivation to be from God or Satan. And you could walk by somebody and just be like, oh my gosh, that was like the most amazing spiritual experience. Like, that person is clearly working through God, through the Spirit of God. And whatever that was, I want more of it. It feels great. You look up to it. Or the opposite is somebody might walk by you and you might be like, oh my gosh, like that person looks like an everyday person. There's no stereotypical differences between him or her and the other, but there was clearly a message of that person working through Satan or maybe his or her behaviors. You have a profound sense of the spiritual realm, often sensing things in the spiritual realm that others simply do not experience. So you've got something that people are like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. I don't have a clue what you mean when you say that. I know that that person is coming from a good place or not a good place. And this might be something inside of you that you've never, ever, ever told anybody about, or maybe you're not even aware of it until now. And you're suddenly getting all these flashbacks of, holy crap, like this is part of me. So to be able to be more aware of it is going to be super amazing for you, Shelby, because this spiritual gift will take you places. you're often able to help others discover the spiritual source of their problems. So again, you're a helper, and that's your fourth spiritual gift, so those tie hand in hand. Along with the gift characteristics come liabilities, so you may unnecessarily become overzealous in hunting satanic heresy. Ooh, that sounds heavy. Maybe overly judgmental of others and their motives, because you are sensing that pureness of living in the flesh or being in the flesh or in Satan. It's almost an innocent way that you may judge somebody. You may be insensitive to the process when offering spiritual input on the source of the problems or spiritual warfare. Or you may expect everyone else to be as spiritually discerning as you are, and thus frustrated when others are not. And I didn't know this my whole life until December, and now I'm like, oh, I see. People don't have this. They have other spiritual gifts, and this is one that you and I share. Service is your third one. This supernatural ability to identify unmet needs and to do whatever necessary to practically meet them. This gift focuses on the tasks and not the people involved. So this is pretty cool. I love this about Shelby. I love this about you, and you can go ahead and read the gift characteristics and liabilities as well. Even if you have to pause this right now, you just go for it, girl. And your last one is helps. No, pardon me. Here I am looking at mine again as the sample. Service. So going down to service, Shelby has a supernatural ability to identify unmet needs and to do whatever necessary to practically meet them. This gift focuses on the tasks and not the people involved. Okay, well, I just repeated that. Sorry, I didn't realize we were on number 4 already. Okay, so if you go down after reading the definition and the liabilities, you can read through the other spiritual gifts that are here: exhortation and faith. And there may be times, and there will be times, where you hold these gifts within you. It's just that they're not in your top 4. Okay, so exhortation and faith, those are really awesome definitions because they're not really clearly defined in day-to-day life. Okay, now at the bottom side of your triangle, we're going to look at your team styles. So on the left bottom side, team styles. And this is really cool because the triangle or the leadership grip is looking at who your gifts are in the language of we or team. So super, super amazing to consider these things because Shelby is going to typically act and step into teamwork in a different way than the next person. And the way that you act and work within a team or with we is going to closely align with your spiritual giftings. And when you read through this package as far as double checking or validating, I've already done that. And yes, your team styles, which are let's go, let me help you. No. Again, I'm reading mine. I'm so sorry. Your team styles, let's stay together, let me help you, and let's be careful are indicative team styles of your top spiritual gifts. So I've validated those. The team style that you need to make sure you have beside you, because it's a deficit for Shelby, is let's go. So you always need somebody, you don't have to, but you're going to be most productive and efficient and effective in your spirits and in your being if you have somebody on your team that says, okay, let's go. So let's look at the definitions of those 3 team styles. Let's stay together. Seeks to build unity among group members. Leads with relational focus and pursues others. Let's stay together is team orientated. Tries to draw the group together and help it stay that way. And you lead best in this team alongside with people rather than in front of people. So that's your team style. You can go ahead and read through the potential strengths of let's stay together team style and the potential liabilities. Okay, the next team style is let me help you. So you want to serve others, defer to others freely, doesn't have to take charge, and generally leads from alongside. Again, you're with the team, not so much in front of the team. And you go ahead and read the potential strengths and liabilities with "Let me help you." Your other team style is "Let's be careful." Wow, you flow through these team styles so well, Shelby, when I read them. This team style insists on in-depth detail work, must consider all of the facts, and leads best from alongside and up front. So go ahead and read those potential strengths, such as you insist on accurate work, in-depth work that's very detailed, plus considering all the facts before decision making, and that goes on, and then the liabilities. So liabilities, very key to go over. The team style that you need the most, because it's not a strength in you, is "Let's go." So this team style that you will want to make sure to have in your life is somebody that is in charge, a pioneer, always moving the group ahead and forward with new visions and new insights. And they lead most effectively from the front or alongside. So you will tend to gravitate towards these people if you recognize it's a lack in you. Again, not negative. And I don't know, I just think of Cynthia right away, because my lacking team styles "Let's go" always as well, and my "Let's go" person in life is Cynthia, and I love her for that. And that's what makes us so strong in our partnerships and our teams, is when we can work our strengths and weaknesses together for the benefit of all. Okay, so that's your gifts as far as team styles. And then we're going to look at the bodybuilding roles on the bottom right side of the triangle. And bodybuilding roles are essentially your gifts in how you serve and lead people. And this is usually looked at in the church, but it can be looked in at all levels.